Coming up on Sports Night.
Men's basketball takes on a pair of tough conference foes.
Women's basketball takes on a ranked foe at the Welsh.
And the best show on the lake makes its long-awaited season debut.
Braedon, didn't I just see you in class?
I don't know. I might have missed you. I was pretty deep in the weeds of the Chicago data portal.
Chicago data portal. They must have some data on Chicago's Big Ten team.
Well, I'm honestly still looking, Leo. The jury's still out. But you know who does?
It's Sports Night right now. Welcome on into Sports Night. I'm Leo Tesler alongside Braedon Olsen.
Leo, you know, I really miss Boo Buie.
You miss who?
Boo Buie, Northwestern basketball's all-time leading scorer.
Boo Buie. I don't see anything here. Is he close with Nick Martinelli?
No. Boo hasn't been on the team in like 2 years, Leo.
Oh, I'm really only concerned about this year's iteration of Cats basketball. Let's give him a look. Men's basketball continued its conference slog last week, hoping to salvage their season before it's too late. They started things off on the road against the Hawkeyes before coming home to take on a ranked foe at Welsh Ryan. Super Bowl Sunday be darned. The Cats and the Hawkeyes are facing off in Iowa City before the big game. Let's go inside Carver Hawkeye Arena. First half action now. Arrington Page into the game early and making an instant impact, running a textbook give and go with Jaden Reed right here. But he can pass too. Dimes up Martinelli, who cans the corner triple, the first of three for Nick Martinelli from beyond the arc. And on the other side, Bennett Sturts was cooking straight up. The guy was on an absolute heater. Jake West has no clue how to stop the man. Shifty move to draw contact for the and one. But for Northwestern, experience cleans up youthful mistakes. Martinelli responds from deep. But he also was not done. He stung the Hawkeyes again to end the first half. He was a big positive for NU, the only Wildcat to be in the positives in the plus-minus category for the first 20 minutes of play. Now into the second half, facing a deficit that only seemed to grow larger with time. Jake West stepped up to the plate. He started to treat Iowa like cones. Watch him intercept this pass from Sturts. That kick start a fast break. His pull-up jumper, butter, money from three-point land. His passing on point. Finds Singleton for an and one here. And guess what? He's more than just an influencer. He's a rim punisher. Alvaro Folgueras had no clue that was to come, and neither did we at home. SportsCenter came calling for that one. Oh yeah, and he's clutch too. How about another three to make it a one-score game with 2 minutes left? Iowa found a response though. Dying moment. JR off to the races, but no numbers on the break. Smokes the layup. Critical error. Forces Northwestern to foul. Still hope with 28 seconds left though. But those hopes were dashed by a stupendous inbound set by the Hawkeyes. The only thing between Cooper Koch and the rim was air and opportunity. The door slams shut on the late game. Northwestern rally, and the Cats fall agonizingly short.
And the Cats were fired up to face off against the de facto #1 team in the country, the Michigan Wolverines. Northwestern had nothing to lose and everything to win in this Wednesday evening showdown. As we get a couple of minutes into the first half, Nick Martinelli facing off against Namari Burnett, #2 jabs and knocks down the mid-range jumper plus the foul, and he is fired up. Cats on offense again. Jake West, top of the key, finds his backcourt mate Jaden Reed, who calmly drains the pull-up three. Reed would have 20 in this one. NU again. Arrington Page misses the mid-range jumper, but there's Trey Singleton soaring through the air for the putback. Great hustle from the first year. And Elliot Cadeau for Michigan easily finds a flying Axel Lendeboer for the alley-oop slam. And we got Page with the rock. He drives inside, stops, turns, shoots, and gets the fadeaway to go. NU up at half. Northwestern on offense to start the second. Martinelli can't get his signature hook shot to fall, but there's Page again. He grabs the board and finishes through contact. It's Cheravino on the break. He drives three-quarters court, and he finishes the floater. Look at that play. Cats up 16, but it's all Michigan from there as Jake West denied at the rim. Michigan pushing the pace. The point guard LJ Kaysen lobs from beyond the arc, and it's Johnson finishing the slam. What a play for Michigan. And Michigan down just 2 now, and Johnson hands off to Trey McKinney, who drills the wing triple, and Michigan gets its first lead since 10-8. The Avalanche would not stop there. Lendeboard receives the full court pass and steps into a massive jam, and he is loving it. Relentless stuff from the Wolverines. And that would be all from Evanston as Michigan storms back from the largest deficit they've faced all year to defeat NU 87-75. Coming off their 4th straight loss, the Cats will return to action this weekend when they travel to Lincoln for a rematch with number 7 Nebraska, their 3rd top 10 opponent in 4 games.
Trying to erase the tough loss at Indiana, women's basketball came back home to the Welsh to take on the middle of the standings USC Trojans. Women's hoops gearing up for a matchup with USC back at home in the Welsh. Let's take a look at how they fare. Cats getting to work early, and it's Grace Sullivan who gets it from Caroline Lau for the quick layup. Now Maya Walton out to Casey Harder in the corner. She launches for 3 and nails it. Harder keeping the Cats within distance. Moving on, it's going to be Deja Turner with it, working against the USC defender, and she'll try to flip it up and in, no good. But Tate Lash right there to grab the offensive board and the layup along with it. Sullivan has the fadeaway jumper and it is nothing but net. A big bucket to close out the first half. After the break, it's Jazzy Davidson for USC. Count it and 1. The freshman star ended with 21 points. Lau once again sends things to Sullivan, who pulls up for another fadeaway jumper, and she nails it. Cats trying to stay alive. Turnovers, big factor in this one. Here's Harder with the steal, and she is going to take it straight to the bucket, adding on to her impressive offensive outing. But Harder and Sullivan's combined 44-point performance will not be enough as USC takes home a commanding 20-plus point victory. The Cat season continues later tonight as the team takes on number 7 ranked Michigan at Welsh Ryan at 8 p.m. local time.
When we come back, lacrosse kicks off its 2026 campaign. Don't go anywhere.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Ready, set, Nano! Welcome back to Sports Night. You know, the weather is warming up a bit, and I walked by Rocky and Bernice Miller Park the other day, and I have to say, Braedon, those fields are snow-free. Did you go back and work for the team?
Leo, I'm going to plead the fifth, if I'm being honest. I guess the 40-degree sunny weather did the work of 10 Braedon Olsens.
A darn shame. Well, we still have some time before the Diamond sports teams play their home games, but spring sports in general are revving up their engines.
Northwestern lacrosse opened its season Friday with a 20-12 win over number 3 Boston College. The Wildcats scored the first 3 goals of the game and never looked back. Madison Taylor led the team with 5 goals and 4 assists. Aditi Foster and Taylor LaPointe followed her up with a combined 7 goals. Meanwhile, transfer goalkeeper Jenica Cuoco had 16 saves in her Northwestern debut.
Number 2 Northwestern women's lacrosse was at Ryan Fieldhouse Monday night for a home opening showdown against the Colorado Buffaloes. 5 minutes into the contest, Rachel Kennedy looking for a hole in the Cats' defense. She finds Tegan Ryan near the goal, and Ryan gets the ball in the net. Buffaloes strike first against the Cats. Later on in the first, Maddie Shoup finds herself with the ball and takes it herself. She fakes the shot right, throws it left, and gets it past Jenica Cuoco. Northwestern down 3 against its unranked opponent. But the Cats would fight back. Taylor LaPointe loads up for this free position with a minute to go in the half. She finds Madison Taylor, who gets it past Elena O for her first goal of the game. Cats enter the break, down 5-4. Early in the third, it's LaPointe again with the ball. She gets pushed out to the 12-meter arc, but she finds Taylor once again, who goes bottom right to tie for the match for the first time this evening. Still, 25 was not done. Taylor lobs the ball to Jenna Soto at the back of the defensive area. It's a quick 1-2 as Soto dishes it back to Taylor for the score. Northwestern takes the lead for the first time in the game. Cats holding a slim lead with 10 to play, but Shoup puts the Buffaloes back on even footing with this high-point score. Shoup would notch 5 goals against Northwestern. The Cats back in the lead, but Lily Ossini is relentless on this free position. Cuoco defends the first shot, but Ossini picks it back up and lands it in the cage to tie the game at 9 apiece. Ultimately, Shoup would score one more goal on Sunday to put Colorado ahead. The Cats were unable to respond, and last year's NCAA runner-up Northwestern drops its home opener against the Buffaloes 10-9. The Lake Show goes on this weekend with a double feature of action at the Ryan Fieldhouse as Army and Central Michigan come to town.
And folks, we are in for a special treat tonight, the second installment of Alumni Arena, where we catch up with SportsNight alumni everywhere in the sports world. Today, our very own Sammy Krimstein speaks with Pat Timlin, who since graduating from Northwestern in 2022 has worked his way from Baton Rouge to Savannah, and just a few months ago joined the staff at WISN in Milwaukee as a sports reporter and anchor. And as he ascends professionally, he remembers his time at SportsNight fondly.
My first week at Northwestern, I remember like it was yesterday. I was in the Wednesday editing meeting, taking way too long to put together a volleyball highlight because I was taking a lot of pride in that. And the person who was supposed to anchor or co-anchor that first week called in sick. And I said, well, my name's Pat, but I'd love to. So then fast forward to the next day, it's my first week. They're letting me co-anchor for some reason. And sitting there in my suit looking at the teleprompter, and it's hitting me. No one explaining me how that worked. And they count down 5, 4, 3. It starts moving, and I just start reading.
Welcome back to Sports Night. I'm Pat Timlin.
And I'm Evan Denton. Pat, you're just starting off here at Northwestern. How are you liking it so far?
Well, Wildcat Welcome was
It's all a blur. But after the show ended, a good friend of mine, Abriel Saragar, walked in and called me Showtime, and that nickname kind of stuck for a bit.
When you got that offer to work in Baton Rouge out of college, do you remember like the first thing that crossed your mind? Like what was that moment like? Because you know that's a big moment for anyone, right? Getting that first job.
Yeah, man, I got to find somewhere to live, and I got to buy new clothes. There's a lot of thoughts going through my mind, but I think the biggest was let's go all in, right? Let's figure out what this community cares about, what stories are important to them. I think that first couple months, it was trying to figure out how to pronounce different Louisiana town names because it's not easy, guys. Look up Natchitoches. It's not spelled how you think, but just buying into what was presented and the opportunities in front of me. We were in New Orleans covering the Sugar Bowl, and a tragedy happens on Bourbon Street, and instead of being on the field at Caesar Superdome, we've got CNN on our left and NBC National on our right, and a crime scene behind us on Bourbon Street. And that's not my duty. I'm not a news guy, but that's where I was thankful for my Northwestern training. And I'm able to take off my sports reporter hat and throw on the news hat for the day and report on the news of the day and what people in our community cared about. And that's, hey, are these people from Southeast Georgia who went to go watch the Dogs safe in New Orleans? And those are the stories that I think stick with you more than, I guess I said earlier, man, a buzzer beater that happened sometime in February.
What were some of the things that you feel like you did to put yourself in a position that, you know, you were able to get a job in Baton Rouge out of college and go down this path now that, you know, you're in Milwaukee, I mean, a great size market, you know, just a few years out of school?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is understanding that every little opportunity, however big or small it may seem, to at least explore it and see what you can gain from it. And what lessons you could take, because I feel like I did 6 or 7 different internships in college, and maybe only one of them is really relevant to what I'm doing now. But at each stop along the way, found either a person or a skill or some piece of information that I think played a big part in how I became a journalist and the stories that I like to tell.
And my very last question, back to the Northwestern angle of things, right?
Yeah.
If there's one word that you could use to describe the impact that Northwestern, Medill, that community, all that knowledge, right? Just one word to describe the impact that's had on your life and your career. What would that word be and why?
Inspiration. There's a lot of inspiring folks that come out of Medill that make you realize, man, I should be working a whole lot harder. Don't be afraid to look for inspiration around you and to drive off others for it as well.
Thanks, Sammy. It's always interesting to see what alumni and past Sports Night members are up to since graduating.
This weekend, baseball will kick off its 2026 campaign as they take on Rice in Houston. But before they do, Braedon and I will take you through what you can expect from Coach Ben Greenspan's squad.
Yeah, Leo, I'm personally really excited to take a deeper look into what this season could look like for baseball. To start off, just lay it on me. Give me a post-mortem from last year. Let us know where we're at with opening day looming.
Well, Braedon, the 26 and 27, or excuse me, the 25 and 27 season the Cats are coming off of may not seem like much, but it is a steep improvement from the 18 and 34 edition from the year prior. On the offensive side, shortstop Ryan Kucherak, third baseman Owen McElpatrick, and first baseman Trent Liolis led the way, with Kucherak setting Northwestern's all-time single-season home run record with 18. On the pitching side, transfers Sam Leboke, Crawford Wade, and Blake McMillan led the way and was what was ultimately a pretty shallow staff as a whole, but not without its signature moments, for sure. Of those guys I mentioned, Kucherak and Owen McElpatrick and Sam Leboke will all return to Miller Park this season with another year of experience under their belt.
Awesome, Leo. Now looking more at this season, what's something you think could improve from last year going into this year, and what's maybe something you have some concerns about?
Well, in terms of improvements, Braedon, I think you got to look at this Northwestern lineup. I'm optimistic about what they can do. They lost Trent Liolis in the transfer portal, but Kucherak and McElpatrick provide some nice kind of quality of contact from the right-handed batter's box and should be the anchors of this lineup as returning guys. In addition to them, I could see Jack Lausch taking a leap offensively based on what he did the second half of last year. You know, he started the season swinging and missing a lot, lots of strikeouts, not great. But that's something you would expect from someone who hadn't really played baseball in the last couple of years. But as the season wore on, I saw him cut down on the whiffs a little bit, and he started hitting the heck out of the ball, if we're being honest. So hopefully that bodes well for 2026. Now on to something I'm concerned about. It's going to be that pitching staff. Again, the depth worries me. We saw Northwestern struggle to deal with pitching injuries last season, most notably the loss of their ace, Garrett Shearer. And they might have a similar issue this year. They're losing a lot of innings in Wade, McMillan, and Amar Sengeg, who have all left. They'll have to make that up with a combination of kind of inexperienced transfers. Tommy Bridges hasn't thrown a college inning, and neither have their freshmen. Again, just guys coming in who have never thrown at this level before. Plus, I assume they'll still be without Shearer for most, if not all, of this season.
And Leo, a player I'm looking at is Jackson Freeman. The junior outfielder has been one of the most consistent hitters on the team during his 3 years with the program. Absolutely mashed on the Cape over the summer. What can you tell us about Freeman?
Well, we've been waiting for the Jackson Freeman breakout since he started to heat up his freshman year. And although we didn't really get it last season, there's still plenty of reason to be optimistic. Freeman spent his summer out in the Cape Cod League, the top summer league in the land, and absolutely raked during the first half of play with the Chatham Anglers. He finished out with a .259, .358, .364 line, 2 homers and 7 doubles on top of that, and he played a solid center field, not something he did in Evanston. And that was in an offense-bereft environment against the top amateur pitching talent in the country. Now, he can spray the ball to all fields. He has power out to left field as a lefty batter, and he could end up being the best all-around player in this Northwestern roster by season's end.
Thanks, Leo. Should be an exciting season ahead for the Cats, who will take the field in Houston at 2:30 p.m. on Friday for a doubleheader to start the season at Rice.
When we go back, we go to the mattresses, or rather the mats. Stay tuned.
Trying to work my way out of the prison system was the most difficult challenge of my life. It only became tangible once I became a Northwestern student.
One, two, three, four.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back to Sports Night. Leo, not only is it crunch time for a lot of our winter sports teams, it's also getting to be that time of the quarter for us students too.
Yeah, I mean, I heard you're in some pretty tough classes this quarter.
Yeah, you know, Stat 320-2 is really kicking my butt.
You know who else kicks butt? Northwestern Wrestling.
The losers of 5 straight, Wrestling took a trip out to Lincoln, Nebraska to try and right the ship against one of the top teams in the country. Tough matchup for the Cats, taking on the number 5 ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers on their home turf. Number 24 ranked wrestler Dedrick Navarro getting himself ready to start things off against Cale Lauritsen. And Navarro is going to have the upper hand looking for the comeback decision, but it's going to be Lauritsen who finds his second wind. He tips Navarro up and dumps him down. Complete reversal in the last few seconds as time expires and Nebraska gets the upset in the first match. Lauritsen is fired up following his come-from-behind victory. Moving on to Brock Hardy taking on NU's Billy Deckraker. Deckraker in trouble, and his knee hits the mat. That's a takedown win for number 4 ranked Hardy, as the Cats can't get anything going in the first few matches, even with their top-ranked wrestlers on the mat. And following that bout with Hardy, we're going to finish off the day with the heavyweight bout. Dirk Morley for the Cats trying to stay alive against AJ Ferrari. Ferrari goes in for the legs, and he gets the takedown with just a few seconds to spare. Nebraska just adding insult to injury at this point with the complete obliteration of the Wildcats. And Northwestern failed to come away with a single head-to-head match win, dropping the contest in Nebraska 47-0. The Cats leave Lincoln still searching for their second conference win. And following that loss, the Cats get a quick break from Big Ten action when they face Northern Illinois this Friday before hosting their final dual meet of the season on Sunday against Illinois.
Northwestern softball began its season in Tempe, Arizona last Friday at the Kajikawa Classic. The Cats went 3-2 over the weekend. Kaylee Avasado headlined the Cats season opener, going 3 for 3 with 4 RBI en route to a 9-1 win versus Toledo. On the mound, Riley Grudzelanek tossed all 5 innings while only allowing 2 hits and 1 run. Northwestern dropped its second game after a walk-off home run to Texas State, but bounced back against the Bobcats in its third game. Signy Dosa carried the Wildcats to a 7-1 win with a 7-inning gem, where she allowed just 1 unearned run and rung up 7. The Cats' one ugly loss came against Arizona State, where they went 2 for 20 at the plate with 12 strikeouts. However, they finished with a strong 14-5 blowout against Memphis, where Kate Renshin crushed a grand slam in her first college at-bat and an inside-the-park home run in her second. Across the whole weekend, Northwestern bats were hot as they hit a combined .333 at the dish. The lumber is there, but they're going to have to bring the leather, too, if they want to bring back the dynasty.
Northwestern women's tennis hosted the Intercollegiate Tennis Associate D1 National Team Indoor Championships from February 6th to the 10th. Unfortunately for the Wildcats, they got off on the wrong foot and they never got back on track, falling 0-3 this weekend to various top 15 ranked opponents. Number 1 Auburn dealt the Cats a 4-0 loss on the first day of the tournament, followed by 2 4-1 defeats to both number 4 Oklahoma State and 7-seeded Virginia, respectively. First-year Margot Fentala put Northwestern on the board against the Cavaliers in a standout ranked singles performance, winning the sets 6-2 and 6-3. The Cats now set their eyes on a 2-game homestand from the comfort of Combe Tennis Center with a match against Fordham coming up this Sunday.
Northwestern men's tennis extended its winning streak to 7 with a 4-2 win at Memphis on Sunday. The Wildcats dropped the number 3 doubles match but stole the doubles point with a tiebreak win at number 1 and number 2. Juniors Cyrus Majub and Ethan Schiffman erased a 3-0 hole to upset the nation's number 87 duo. The number 1 pairing of Grayson Casey and Carter Pate improved to 6-0 after rallying past the country's number 83 team. In singles, number 4 Ethan Schiffman rolled 6-4, 6-2. Memphis answered with wins at number 2 and number 3 to tie the match, but freshman Cooper Hahn erased a 4-1 first set deficit and won a second set tiebreak 10-8. To clinch, number 1 Carter Pate saved multiple match points and fought back from 5-1 down in the third to win 7-5. At 7-2, Northwestern has had its best start since 2022. The Cats return home on Valentine's Day this Saturday, February 14th, for a doubleheader against Marquette and Illinois State. First serve, 10 a.m. Central.
And now let's take a look at where you can catch the Cats.
Men's basketball hits the road to play ranked Nebraska on Saturday afternoon.
The Lake Show plays a double feature in the Fieldhouse starting Saturday with number 20 Army.
And Coach McEwen's squad heads to Happy Valley to face the Nittany Lions on Sunday.
And when we come back, we've got some of the best plays from this past week. Stay tuned.
I'm Kelly McEvers, founding host of the NPR podcast Embedded.
I'm James Edwards, host of the Unresolved podcast from Frontline.
I'm Antonia Cereijido, former senior producer of Anything for Selena podcast and current executive producer at Elias Studios.
My narrative, since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition, has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back to Sports Night. Braedon, our time here is almost up, and so is my tenure as an anchor here on the 4th floor of MFC.
Can't get rid of you soon enough, man. All in a day's work.
Hey, whoa, not so fast there, okay? You can't get rid of me before everybody's favorite segment, Plays of the Week. Let's roll the clip.
And Leo is right. Here are your plays of the week. What are they going to be? At number 3, it's going to be Northwestern down to USC. Deja Turner misses the hook shot, but Tate Lash is right there with the rebound and the putback. Heads up play for Lash.
And at play number 2, the Wildcats storming down the field against Colorado. Good ball movement around the fan, trying to find a way in, and Madison Taylor jukes out a defender and scores to take the lead. Hugs and dancing all around, but it did not last long.
And coming in at your number 1 play of the week, It's going to be Jake West driving and Jake West dunking a huge slam for Northwestern's freshman.
Well, that is going to do it for us here on Sports Night. I mean, Braedon, if you're so busy with classes this quarter, why not just bother coming back in? Why not bother just not coming back in? I mean, yeah. Sure, it's my last show, but we have some different ideas on what this Sports Night experience is supposed to be.
Shoot, man, you might be right. But I just don't know what I would do with all that free time. Maybe I'll go back and work for the baseball team.
Well, we wish you good luck with that. Thank you so much for tuning into Sports Night. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @NNN_sports and on Twitter at NNN Sports. For Braedon Olsen, I'm Leo Tesler, signing off.